Hi, my name is Grace Kim, and I am an oil painter with a focus on realism and portrait work. More specifically, my body of work tends to emphasize mood, emotion, and drama. Think of artists like Rembrandt, and for a more modern reference, Andrew Kadima. So today we're going to paint an eye together, and this is the image that I chose for us today. And the reason why I chose it is because it has some intense darks and also intense highlights that will really help make the image pop and look three-dimensional on your page. Learning how to paint an eye is a great start to portrait painting because it allows you to learn one detail in depth, and you can keep expanding your skills one detail at a time. This course is for all skill levels. A little bit of drawing experience is encouraged, but it really isn't necessary as we will be just painting directly onto the canvas. Accuracy is not what we're aiming for. We are aiming for mood and expression. At the end of the painting, your painting may not look exactly like mine, and that is totally okay. For this painting, we will be using a monochromatic scale, meaning we will use black, white, and one other color of your choice. This will allow us to focus on the tones and values rather than getting overwhelmed with color mixing at this point. It will also serve as a wonderful underpainting should you decide to add color later on. You could always do that. The paint that I'll be using are Winsor Newton Lamp Black. I've got Infinity Palette Series Titanium White, and I think I'm going to use Burnt Sienna, and I have Winsor Newton Burnt Sienna for this painting as well. You can use any color that you want. You can use blue, yellow, anything that you want. If you purchased a materials bundle package from me, then you will have everything that you need for this painting. If you haven't, here are just a few suggestions of what you're going to want to create this painting. You're going to want a variety of brushes, a large brush and a lot of detail brushes because an eye is a detail of the face. So you need brushes. Of course, you need a canvas. I will be working on an 11 by 14 canvas. Paper towels is a must. You will be using this a lot and they will get dirty. You need some kind of paint thinner. I like to use Gamsol. It's liquidy, it doesn't smell, and it doesn't leave any kind of residue when it dries. And finally, you do not have to do this, but I find this to be a helpful reusable palette tray. And I actually take an old picture frame with a glass cover, and I put a very neutral gray tone piece of paper inside of the frame and create a reusable palette. This way, when you have all your paint and you're done, you could easily wipe it clean, and even if it dries, you can scrape it clean with like a razor, and I find this to be very helpful. Well, I think we are ready to begin. I cannot wait to see what your painting looks like at the end of this lesson. Let's begin with a quick wash of our midtone, which is whatever color you're using with the black and white. Make sure to dilute the paint so that it is translucent, and have fun with the shape. This is going to be the background of your painting. Now we are going to lay in the basic shape of the eye. Remember, it doesn't have to look exactly like the reference photo, but try to make sure you get the basic shape and values in so you don't get confused later on. What we want to focus on here are the darkest tones, and we will work our way up to the highlights. Don't get caught up with any details here. You can even squint your eyes to blur out the details that might distract you from seeing the basic tones in the image. Keep looking back and forth from your painting and your reference photo, and loosen your grip on your brush for a lighter touch. Let's lay in the darkest part of the eye, which is the pupil. This is done with pure black. From here, we use the black point as a good indication to see how light or dark we need to make the other shadows in the painting. Remember, with oil paint, you work dark to light. Just to let you know, I won't be talking throughout the entire video, so feel free to pause and rewind as needed and go at your own pace. When we are painting, it's normal to jump from one area to the next and come back to areas as they dry, or if you just want to hop around because you're tired of looking at the same spot for too long, go right ahead. There really is no right or wrong way to paint, and actually it is through our mistakes that we learn and discover our own unique style. Notice how I'm painting in a perpendicular motion to the shape of the eye. I am not swiping my brush left to right just to color it in. This will leave your painting looking flat and lifeless. Painting your brush stroke perpendicular to the shape of the eye gives it the illusion of dimension and realism. You'll notice I am using a different kind of brush when I'm blending. I discovered a few years back that makeup brushes are the best blenders. You can get them much cheaper than artist brushes, and they come in large sets, so you have a variety of sizes, all for about $12. You want to use blending brushes completely dry and as clean as possible when you are blending. Go in a circular motion, much like you would if you wear makeup and you are blending your foundation into your face. The hardest part to overcome in painting is the inevitable ugly phase. When I was first learning to paint, I would give up right at this phase because it looked messy, muddy, and well, ugly. Teaching our brain that the ugly phase is just a part of the process takes time and patience to build. So go easy on yourself. With practice, that ugly phase goes away much quicker with every painting you make. A common misconception when painting an eye is that the white part of the eye is all white. This is not true, especially when you are working with color. But even in a monochromatic scale, there is subtlety in value and tone, and rarely any stark white in the white of the eye. So as you can see, there's a lot of blending involved when painting in a realistic style. Of course, if you want a more expressionistic or impressionistic look, feel free to leave some of the tones choppy and textured. It is totally up to you how you want this to look. I'm now adding in some more detail here, and this is where it could get a little tricky because there's a lot of subtle values, and adding too much or too little differences in tone could make it look a little bit off. So take your time. So I'm going to be quiet now as you continue to refine your painting. This is the part of the process where you will keep going back and forth, refining each section and gradually adding your tones to create that dimension. Getting into the meat of it, painting veins is a lot of fun. The key to this is to dilute your paint so it glides on smoothly, and if you look at the reference, you'll notice the veins are not solid lines. They vary in value and thickness. It's okay to lay them in dark and blend out any harshness as you see fit. For the eyelashes, you will want to dilute the black paint so you have a nice slick consistency to lightly swipe your tiniest detail brush one hair at a time. Note the direction of the eyelashes. In reality, they curl down a bit, not up. Each lash also crisscrosses and overlaps the other, so try not to go in a straight line across the eyelid. Once you have the top and bottom lashes laid in, we will add the finishing touches and main highlights to really make the painting pop. Go slow. If you see a line of highlight, examine the reference photo and check that it isn't a complete line, and blend any harsh whites to give it a more natural look. So here I'm just doing some final blending to blur the harsher details and highlights. And with this final highlight, we are finished. I hope you had fun learning how to paint an eye. Thanks so much for joining me today.